in quite a number of other areas, the figures may also not be agreeing, and then there will be need for such figures to be reconciled. And the kind of reconciliation they say they are going through, I mean, they embark on with NNPC, CBN, and all of that present, and we still have this gap yawning, then it means that the reconciliations are meaningless. And we may need further reconciliation and more effective reconciliation for there not to be these number of figures that are disagreeing at every point.
Well, anyway, I think even though we don't want NNPC to, I mean, rather the CBN to come and even banter with the NNPC, but don't you think for the very first time we also must hear from the CBN how they arrived at all of this?
Yeah, that is why I said CBN may need to do more, you know, especially now that the ball is at their court, and the dignified silence that they are maintaining need to be broken, in the sense that they are now being accused of not understanding figures. And I find it a little curious that CBN as an organization where there are so many economists, where there are so many chartered accountants, PhD holders and all of that, do not understand figures and do not know how to reconcile, you know, figures to be able to advise the president appropriately.
Well, we hope to hear from the CBN on that particular one, you know, but, you know, it was a week of letters, even though they were all dated differently. The one dated December 2nd and the other one dated 26th of September. Yes, but now let's talk about the most recent letter, the letter written by former President Olusegun Obasanjo to incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan, and you must have been following all of the comments that particular letter has generated. Some say, well, it's timely, while others think otherwise.
You see, I took time to read that letter, and what I got from that letter is a cocktail of patriotism, anger, bitterness, and frustration, all encapsulated.
All in one.
Oh, sure. And that is why I have listened to a number of people who made remarks or comments, you know, on that letter. Some group of people are, what is this thing Obasanjo is saying? You know, when he was there, what did he do? And we ended up comparing two evils. Yes, how did he handle? He's talking about carrot and stick approach to Boko Haram. How did they handle it? He raised down OD, raised down Zaka Bayam, and all of that, you know. And now he is advising carrot and stick. In other words, we are looking at the messenger more than the message. And I like us to look at this, take this analysis from this point. Go beyond the messenger. See what the message he is trying to pass across. What message is he? What is the validity of this? What is the import of this message? What is the significance of this message? Even though it is very, very difficult to draw a line between the messenger, in this case, and the message. Given the fact that here is a past president who had an opportunity to do quite a lot of things that a number of people said he couldn't do. Who they also hold against that he foisted the situation that we find ourselves today on us. Because in that letter, I kept seeing how God walked through General Obasanjo to make a Jonathan. And like some guest of yours said last week that, well, does that mean that the mandate of the people was not relevant in this instance? It was Obasanjo that was giving us presidents, and we were lining up, you know, in the sun and the rain, you know, pretending to be electing one. Meanwhile, it was Obasanjo that was going to give us a president, and he did give us one. But let's go to item by item. Let's go item by item on these matters. The first one is, I said, I see a lot of patriotism in what he said. Some people are going to say, what is it that Obasanjo has said that has not been said by anybody? That is why I now want us to look at the position of the author of that letter instead of the person. This is a man who has been president. He understands a lot of what is happening in the presidency. He is in a better position to appreciate what is happening. If that letter was written by, say, APC people, he won't call me. He won't call me in to discuss it. You know, it would have been, oh, these are the, like Idi Amin would say those days, the Obote people. You know, these are the opposition. You know, they are always, you know, criticizing, and their criticism is not constructive. Unless
even though we don't use the word Obote man here, we still see a whole lot of talk about the opposition.
Yeah, sure. That's why I say it would have been like Idi Amin would say Obote people.
That is if the former president is not truly in the opposition, because the way it is going now looks like well.
Yes, but we see the most beautiful thing I like again is the fact that this criticism is coming from PDP. It's a soul-searching criticism. A situation where it's like, we can do better.
Can I ask which PDP? Because even though they've said it's one PDP, from the look of things, to some Nigerians...
Chief Obasanjo has not told us that he's in new PDP. So, to that extent, we believe that he is in PDP. And that if this criticism is coming from PDP to a PDP president, then it is something that we should bother about. So it is not something we should sweep away as coming from Obasanjo, who probably lacks the moral high ground to begin to, you know, advise anybody. He should advise. In other climes, ex-presidents advised incumbent presidents. So let us look at it there. That's why we say, let's go beyond the messenger and look at the message. For instance, the issue of, say for instance, when he talked about Boko Haram, I disagree with him in that regard. I disagree with him in that regard in the sense that he talked about carrot and stick. I think Jonathan, in fairness to Jonathan, has been applying the carrot and stick. Here is Jonathan, who had a reconciliation or a committee that was going around the north and all of that, trying to be, and at the same time he needed to save Nigerians from the carnage being caused by Boko Haram. So that is my understanding of carrot and stick. It's not like he said, look, we must mow these people down. He also is giving them opportunity. He at all points in time giving them olive branch. Let us talk. If, for instance, Obasanjo is, the aspect of frustration I told you about is when he talked about Kasha, I think the name of that Southwest politician is Kashamo or so. Even though he was a little harsh on him, because I read the letter and he called him very clearly a criminal. He's not in his position to so say, you know, because I think the matter is still pending, you know, in courts, and the court process is still going on. But you see, he is feeling frustrated in the sense that here is a chieftain of Southwest politics, or national politics, but at least in charge of the Southwest. And another person is now in charge of the Southwest. And it doesn't look like the man is taking instructions from him. Because one of the things that Obasanjo serves is a situation where people take instructions from him, where he will direct how issues will work in the party. And it's like he's being egged out. That's the frustration.
Well, again, I think let me quickly go to our Abuja studios. Mark, she would want to talk on this particular letter written by former President Olusegun Obasanjo to incumbent Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Mark, we're back to you.
Well, thank you, Sulaiman. I have just two more questions. One is on the NNPC and the other is on the Obasanjo letter. I want to ask Mr. Eke now, is there any part, I know he's spoken extensively about the person of Mr. Obasanjo and also what he thinks his influences are in terms of writing that letter, but is there any part in the content of the letter that worries him?
Yeah, the part of the letter that worries me is the one that talks about the listing of about 1,000 politicians and the institution of a sniper training squad that obviously, or by implication, is supposed to either keep a watch on those 1,000 politicians or try to eliminate them. And I'm saying if this accusation is coming from such high quarters, we should be worried. It's scary enough. But in fairness to Chief Obasanjo, he referred to it as allegation. Indeed, he put it as allegation. He didn't say he knows that this sniper squad has been instituted. So that worries me.
Are you hoping to see any reply